You are listening to the Walking Leader podcast with your host, David Guerra.
Welcome back to the Walking Leader podcast. I'm your host, David Guerra, author of the books The Walking Leader and Great to Follow, and the upcoming book, Making the Jump, Your Mindset from Amateur to Professional. In this episode, we continue with Section 2 of the Primary Leadership Development course. Let's roll. Welcome to Session 2 of the Primary Leadership Development. In this section, I continue with an introduction to leadership and the importance of leadership in professional growth. Now, leadership in professional growth is important in that as you grow professionally, others, your peers, colleagues will start to see you as the next iteration of who you were. That's as you grow. Additionally, you will start to see them in a different light. For example, those in positions above you, well, you're going to start getting it. You're going to get why they behave the way they behave, why they are the way they are. You will see them for who, what they are, and most importantly, why they are the way they are. See, now they're within reach where they were just out of reach. They were just out of arm's length before. Now they're within reach. Now you get to understand them a little bit better. But again, that's part of growth. Additionally, another aspect of the importance of leadership in professional growth is that you must challenge yourself. You must challenge yourself every day. Every day you must become better than you were yesterday. No, non-negotiable. See, when it comes to challenging yourself, there are two things to remember. One, you are not trying to be better than anyone else but yourself. Two, you set the limits you want to reach, the goals you want to accomplish. That's it. Remember, you're only trying to be better than you were yesterday. You're not trying to be better than anyone else. You can use others as a benchmark, as a tool, as a step, not a stepping stone, don't get me wrong, not like that, but in a path that, well, to put you on the path of trying to figure out, this is where I want to be. I see this, I see them accomplish this. I want to get there as well. But not to outdo them. All right, now let's break it down. I'll do a better job here. By only trying to be better than yourself, you put yourself in that unique place where you are the one that matters most. Now, hear me out with this. You must matter most. See, all my life growing up, I heard you have to put your family first, or you have to put God or the deity of your choice first. And I get it. I understand it. And I've seen too many people do that. They put others first, and sooner, not later, they find themselves lacking. That's right. They find themselves just unable to continue. See, and if we fail, if we cannot continue putting others first, then what good are we to our family and our faith? See, if we continue down that path. See, I firmly believe that you must put yourself first. You must put yourself first to take care of yourself. Again, otherwise, what good will you be to anyone else? You got to realize that. So when it comes to growth, you have to take the initiative to make it happen. Everyone is out for themselves. Everyone. This does not mean that the world is a cynical place. What it means is that as we move through our professional lives, we must remember that others are doing the exact same thing. So this takes us to the next part of the session, self-assessment and goal setting. As we work to not just determine, but to better ourselves, we must come to a point where we look inward before we can look outward. To travel down that right path, we need to make absolutely certain where we're going, where you are going, and most importantly, is that the right path for you? See, knowing if you are on the right path begins with knowing two things: who you are and where or who you want to be. Therefore, the sooner you get to the answer, the sooner you can get back on the right track. Additionally, these two questions are two that you should always be asking yourself. Always. See, you should be asking these periodically. It's almost in the same consistent manner as a ship's captain or an aircraft pilot is constantly checking their navigation charts, either on paper or electronic or both. They do so to ensure that they are on the right course, on the right path. And by you checking yourself, by knowing who you are and where you want to be, you are then ready to set your goals, and setting these goals is critical towards your personal and professional growth. Now, once determined what your goals are, you can begin doing something I very much like. I like very much this, and it's called backwards planning. I like it a lot because you have set a goal, the goal you want to accomplish, then you start to break it down to bite-sized deliverables, which build on each other until you ultimately reach your goal. Now, these bite-sized deliverables, you start with the end in mind, right? Sounds familiar, right? You begin with the end in mind. This is my goal, $1 million. But to get $1 million, I need to have $999,000 in the bank. Well, how do I get there? Well, I need to have $750,000 in the bank. You see what I'm saying? You work backwards, right? But ultimately, you begin. I had to start with $1. So, again, build those deliverables, and they're going to build on the next thing, and so on and so on. Now, what do you do after you reach your goal? Well, here's a word or two about that. After you reach your goal, once you reach your goal, guess what? You're ready to create a new one. And there's nothing wrong with creating new goals. You should always be creating new goals. And of course, self-assessing along the way is critical. Asking yourself, who am I now that I've achieved these goals? Where do I want to be now that I have these goals met? Where do I want to go to next? So keep self-assessing. Keep self-assessing. Now, I want to remind you, we've got homework for section 2, and it's up to you. Your homework assignment is to, in writing, start listing the goals you want to accomplish for this year. If you need some help, here's how I work to set my goals. I get a sheet of paper and I draw 4 horizontal lines to create 5 evenly spaced sections on the paper. Okay. In the first section, I label it physical. Right? Physical. Me, my body. Okay. Then in the next, I do mental. My mind. Okay. Next, my wife, spouse, or partner, whatever is your thing. All right, so that's what I label. And followed by family. And lastly, financial. Okay. And in those sections, I put down 1 or 2 clearly defined goals that I want to accomplish over the course of the year. Doesn't mean I have to, I start in January and I got to end it by December. Some of these things might just take place over the next 3 months, because then it puts you in a better place. It puts you where you need to be. But again, clearly defined goals. 1 or 2, don't get crazy, don't go overboard. Just keep it tangible, keep it not just tangible, but keep it within reach, something you can do, and then we start adding on to it later on. See, now when you're doing this, remember about writing down your goals. That's why I have paper and a pen. If a goal is written, then it's real. It's tangible. It's the real thing. You can hold it. Here's the goal. It's in writing. Guess what? When it's real, when it's tangible, it can be accomplished. So it's time to get to work. I want to remind you that we've just started this process. There is a total of 10 sessions in this primary leadership development course, and this is session 2. Now, please note, there is more to this course than just the audio in the podcast. I invite you to visit my website, daveguerra.com/primary. daveguerra.com/primary, Primary. There you're going to find the course material such as this audio, a video or 2, some PDF documents for you to download, and some other training material, reference material to help you move through this course. Now, the next episode of the Primary Leadership Development course drops in a couple of weeks on or about February 9th. So I do hope you can continue to join me on this journey for a new year. Well, we've reached the end of this episode, and I do hope you found it both entertaining and educational. Also, I do hope you continue to join us for the next episode. I'm David Guerra, author of the books The Walking Leader, Great to Follow, and soon, Making the Jump, Your Mindset from Amateur to Professional. Again, I want to thank you for joining me today. Please do not forget, you can always contact me with questions, comments, or concerns by email at dave@daveguerra.com, on Twitter, the @ Dave Guerra, all one word, and of course on Instagram, Dave_Guerra. And I do look forward to hearing from you. So until next time, be confident, stay patient, and most of all, remain resilient.
The Walking Leader podcast is a David Guerra presentation.